What's going on, everyone? I'm going to be revisiting the best boxers in the UFC to this date. And, because there's been a lot of things happening and there's been a lot of, you know, evolution in the boxing in MMA as of recent. A lot of very highly talented boxers have really started to shine. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to give, my list on the best boxers in the UFC. Starting off with Piotr Jan. I'm gonna give him a solid A tier. Now I'm gonna give him an A tier because I do think while his boxing is really good and you could argue him as being the best boxer in the UFC, I feel like too much of his game is just like he has really good boxing, but it's like a Muay Thai fighter with really good boxing. He has he relies heavily on like a good kit game. You know, I mean wrestling is incorporated a lot into his game. I mean, it's just that I think his kicks and I think elbows as well. I think his kicks and elbows are too much for me to just consider it only boxing. And like, I think if you like, especially like his knees, his kicks, his elbows, I think if you take all that away, he wouldn't have nearly as much success, I believe, just because they are a big part of his game and he utilizes kicks very well. But like, especially like switching to like what like switching stances to have the same lead hand forward, so it'd be like what southpaw orthodox type shit. So he could start smashing away with that body kick. I don't know. I just think there's too much to his game to be described as just boxing, but overall, he is a like very good boxing. Cannot hate good boxer. A tier. Next up, the man himself, Ilya Abtoro. Ilya Toptoro Poloporo. I'm sorry. He's the best boxer in the UFC. This guy has first off, he has elite head movement. I think he does really well cutting angles and using the shoulder roll really well. I think it's like he fights and stands a lot like a boxer. And this guy crisp combinations. He works the body really well. He's good at investing and staying patient. And he's not like Piotr Jan where it's like kicks and elbows and like all this other shit is just such a massive part of his game. I mean, the only kick he throws ever is a low kick, and his low kicks are really heavy, actually. I don't think anyone realizes how fucking good his low kicks are. Like, he has a really solid calf kick that just swells up anyone's leg, like, instantly. But, I mean, his head movement is really good. He does really good with, like, shoulder rolling and, like, using the Philly shell while on defense. His combinations are really crisp, like, and it's like just from like a technical standpoint compared to a boxer, he is a very he's the best. He is the best in the UFC, and I don't think I'd pick anyone to beat him. Like in like a pure boxing fight where it's just hands, I'm not picking anyone to beat him. I don't think even if you gave everyone like if you limited Elite Tapora, hey, you're only allowed to box. You can't throw a kick at all. I still wouldn't pick anyone to beat him really, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Next up, Max Holloway. I'm gonna throw him in the B tier. I don't. He's an elite striker. I think his just boxing is overrated because I don't think he gets enough credit for. I mean, people think he's like just a boxer, but so much of his game is like he has that spinning back kick. I mean, he does throw a lot. He does throw a lot of head kicks against those shorter opponents. He utilizes knee stomps and calf kicks a lot. I mean, it's just there's so much more to his game than just boxing. It's the same thing with Piotr Yan, except it's just like as a boxer, I think Piotr Yan is just more technical than Max Holloway. I think Max Holloway utilizes too much to be just a boxer. I'd say like elite striker, yes. Elite like the best boxer, no. Would not say. Really good boxing, yes, but it's just there's too much of his game that's just there's so much in his arsenal that he utilizes to where it like if he just had boxing, it wouldn't be the same. Next up, Sean Strickland. Sh- I'm gonna put him in A tier, moreover because of his defense. Like from a technical standpoint, he's not the greatest, but I think fundamentally he just has what he needs, which he has the good jab, he has the teep kick, he has the two down, he has a good 1-2, good two on its own, a good jab on its own, and a good teep kick, and that's about it. But his defense, people shit on him, but like just going for what's good, like you got to admit this guy has pretty fucking insane defense. Like for someone who's fighting in MMA where you have to block head kicks and body kicks and all this shit, having like the highest significant strike defense at middleweight using a fucking Philly shell and having literally one knee, that's really impressive. And I can't take much away from that. A lot of his boxing skill comes from just like the super ordinary fundamental stuff along with the his defense, and I think that carries him a lot. Like if you take away his teep kick, I mean he's still just gonna jab all day. He's still gonna jab, jab two, jab two, oh jab two three. Oh shit, that was a good one. Like he's still gonna have like 90% of his game. The teep is usually just like to like manage his distance so no one can get in get in like the pocket with him where like like against Costa, that's a pretty good way he uses it. Like he knows in the pocket Costa would be the better fighter. So Costa tries to come forward, teep kick, keep him at range, just poke at him. And Costa knows if I step in too close, then it's chipping away my gas tank. I can't keep I wouldn't be able to keep it up forever if it just exploding in, and I'd get finished probably. So he is a great boxer. Just a lot of it comes from his defensive capabilities, and yeah, that's about it really. Yeah. Next up, Jack Della Maddalena. This may be controversial, but I think I think Jack Della Maddalena is skill wise on the same level as Taporia. I think the difference between him and Taporia is Taporia has. I think JDM like has actually thrown like head kicks and body kicks. He doesn't throw it often, but I mean he uses like it's the same thing. Like they both like utilize like a calf kick a lot, and they both do really well at investing to the body and you know setting up with those good combinations. Actually, I'm not even gonna mention the wrestling, like the wrestling and well-roundedness. No, just from like a pure boxing perspective, they are pretty much. I think the only thing that Taporia would have over him is pound for pound. I think, I think pound for pound, JDM is maybe slightly faster, but I think Taporia probably has better timing, and it's no argument that Taporia is 100% the heavier hitter. Why the fuck is Glover Teixeira here? Why the fuck is Glover Teixeira on this list? Fucking Dan Hooker, Pavlovich, Masvidal. Okay, but none of these guys are S tier. None of these guys are the best boxer in the UFC. Really good box, like, but JDM is like he's from a technical boxing perspective, him and Taporia are on the same level, I think, at least. Next up, Dustin Poirier. I'll put him in the A tier. Uh, I don't know. It's something about Poirier that just doesn't make me want to. I think a lot of what I see is just like I'll see so many people be like, "Dude, you really think you could take? You guys really think that Taporia could beat Poirier? Dude, Poirier would box the fucking head off Taporia. Guys, you guys are stupid, bro. Poirier would beat the fucking shit out of Taporia. Prime Poirier would beat the shit. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. But from just a boxing perspective, I mean, yeah, Poirier's really, really high level. It's just I don't know. I don't know. There's just like something about the way he like kind of like moves and throws. I think from like a pure boxing perspective, Poirier is definitely better than like Holloway, but he's definitely better than Holloway. So that's like I kind of want to put him in the A tier, but he's definitely like I wouldn't put him above like guys like Jan and Strickland, maybe above Strickland. But I think even then, like from just like a overall like including defense, I think Strickland's defense far exceeds Poirier's. It's just I don't know, man. Poirier, I think a lot like with these other guys, like if he's investing to the body, I feel like it's either with like a kick or with just like a jab to the body. Whereas Taporia will, where guys like Taporia and Jack Della Maddalena, they'll like start off a combination like to the head and then mix up to the body, or like start off with like hooks to the body and go up to the head. Like Poirier, I don't know. I don't feel like I feel like he headhunts a bit too much, and I don't mind it because like dude, he's found success, and I do see him rip to the body occasionally, but it's just like from like a boxing perspective, just not as much as I would like to see. Not as much clean boxing work. Not not as clean and as like technical as like a JDM or Taporia, if that makes sense. I know people are gonna fucking lose their shit saying Poirier's a better boxer than JDM. I don't think so. Could Poirier beat JDM? Fucking maybe, dude. Maybe. Maybe he could maybe guillotine JDM. But Poirier, I just don't think from a technical standpoint is like as good as guys like Jan and JDM and Taporia. So like that's why I kind of have him at like the lower of A tier. But next up, Adrian Yanez. I'm really debating A tier, but I think I'll just leave him in B. Adrian Yanez, from just a boxing perspective, is like really good, but I feel like so often we see him just like lack head movement. And like the only time he's like ever moving his head is like to like counter. But in terms of just like slipping shots and just like moving off at an angle just to get out of the way and like try to get to back to the center of the octagon and get off the fence. I don't know, like dude, Randy Costa was touching him up with the jab and two a lot. Same thing with Rob Font. I mean, from just like he does have really good boxing, and even in his knockout loss against Font, when Font landed that shot, Yanez did the right when Font threw the jab and the right hook, like the right shovel hook. Yanez did the right thing to counter. He came over the top. He slipped on the inside, came over the top with the right hand, and he was about to come back with a two with a left hook, but the left hook barely like he misread he like miscalculated like the distance, so the his left hand missed, and then Rob Font's right hand just fucking boom right down the pipe or right on the chin of Yanez, so just put him out. So I mean, like he does a lot of things like really good. It's just like there are just moments where you see him just like, ooh, I don't like that. Like, ooh, why is Randy Costa landing that much on you? Ooh, why are you, not beating the ever living shit out of Davy Grant? And that's actually not a diss on Davy Grant. Davy Grant's really good, but I hope he's made like a lot more improvements because I mean, at the end of he's like lightning fast. He's got heavy hands. I think he's got Yanez has what it takes to. He does have the potential, I think, to genuinely be a champion. I'm not joking about that. But like, man, he's just got these things to work on. He's just got some of these things to work on, and I think if he can, work out those little kinks, then he could really get there. Next up, Rob Font. I think he's an A tier boxer. I Rob Font, I think he does really well with output. He does really well investing like the body. I mean, it's how he beat Kyler Phillips as a 4-1 underdog. He does really good investing to like the body and just his overall like putting combinations together. I just think the thing that holds him back a lot is, and I think the people would disagree with me is because they see him get hurt so many times. But dude, his chin is just so suspect at times. Like Vera dropped him like 3 times. Aldo dropped him like twice. The guy gets dropped like once. He's getting like dropped almost every fight guaranteed. It's just man. Like if he had a Marlon Vera chin, he would be fucking unstoppable because his boxing is genuinely fucking insanely good. If he had a Marlon Vera chin, he'd be unstoppable. It's just like he's able to outbox everyone. It's just like when he gets tagged by some of these guys, he goes jelly legged for a second, and it just costs him the round when it's a close one. Like like it's in a round where it's competitive, but like okay, Font's ahead. Boom, he gets hit by a shot. Oh, Font's rocked. There we go. So like as a technical boxer, he's really good, but it's just oh, and he doesn't have a lot of power. I know he slipped Yanez, but that was like a perfect shot, genuinely right on the chin. And even then, Yanez wasn't out cold. Yanez he was still like looking directly at Font as he got punched in the face 3 times on the ground. But I'm just saying, as a technical boxer, he is probably one of the best in the UFC. I think Font's heavily underrated with his boxing. And yeah, as a boxer, I think he's better than Max Holloway. You can hate me for it, but it is what it is, bro. Yep, it is what it is. Next up, Stipe for um, I'll give him a B tier. I'll give him a B tier just because I don't know if it's just like maybe I just need to go back and rewatch Stipe's old fights, but it's like I just don't see him throw a lot of kicks that would make me think, oh, this guy just has an over reliance on this guy just has an over reliance on like kicks that I can't say. It's just like he boxes how an MMA fighter would box. And he has he does good like working the body. I mean, he's really good at, just like making adjustments like that. I mean, he showed his ability to like start to the head and like work that body against, like Daniel Cormier. He did it really well against, but just doesn't, he just doesn't have like the same level of like head movement as like a Taporia or like he doesn't like put combinations the same way together as like JDM, where it's like ripping off of like a 1-2-3 to the body like super quick like that. So he's not like terrible. He's like a good boxer, but he's very like one type of shot boxer. Like he's like 1, 2, 3, where JDM's like JDM would be like 1, 2, 3. Like ba ba ba. Like Stipe would be like ba ba ba. Like I don't know. He doesn't put combinations at the same speed, and like his defense just isn't the same as like a Topuria or JDM, but he's still a good boxer. I think he comes from more like a kickboxing background, so probably that's probably why. But regardless, next up, Alex Pereira. He's a B tier boxer. I'm sorry, dude. Like this is real because unironically, so much of his game is his kicks. Like if you take away like his calf and like body kick and his head kicks, dude, I don't think he would have found as nearly as much success in the UFC as he has. I mean, a jab is a big part of his game, but like so much of his game is just chopping away at the lead leg, forcing you to switch stances, like setting up for like head kicks and body kicks. It's just it's hard to like it's really hard to give like to like make Pereira any higher because so much of his game is the kicks, and you know, frankly, is you know I know his like defense is like it's like his own little thing. Like he knows what he's doing, but it's still it's not what you'd like to see. Like as a like from like a boxing pure perspective, it's just not the best. And like the way he throws his shots are just like a little bit different. But then again, that's because he is literally built different to most humans. Like physically he is like so he's gonna throw things a bit differently. But it's just from like a pure boxing perspective, I don't think I don't like from a pure boxing perspective, I don't think he's more technically sound than a Font or a Yan. From a pure striking perspective, yeah, he's S tier. I definitely think he's better than like Font and maybe Yan. But from just a pure boxing perspective, just pure boxing, no. And people can hate on that, but it's true. From a pure technical boxing perspective, Rob Font is probably a better technical boxer. From a pure striking, like all around striking, Pereira is probably leagues ahead of Font. He's like leagues ahead of most guys. It's just like we're just isolating the boxing. So please just remember that. So Pereira's just not, it's not it, brother. Next up, Calvin Cater. I'll say he's a B tier boxer. I'll say he's B tier boxer just because man, he's just kind of fallen off a bit. It's kind of sad to see. He's on a bit of a downward spiral, and you know, he does really good with like his boxing is really good. It's just like where he's at right now. It's just hard to put him any higher. I'm not gonna linger on this one too much. Just like try to get through it quick. Sergey Pavlovich. He's not really much of a technical boxer. He's a brawler. He's a brawler. Okay, he'll try to hurt you, and then he'll just go wild and start throwing like fucking going crazy with his shots. He doesn't not too much technique behind it. It's just not the most technique behind it. Like he'll show sparring or show shadow boxing where he's like ripping off these showing his fast hands, and I'm like, okay, that's nice. But dude, like he doesn't, he's not like super technical when he starts feeling himself, technique kind of goes, and he's just like, all right, I'm gonna throw a punch at you. You're gonna respect my power, and I'm gonna hit you, and you're gonna cover up. And that's really what it is. So I mean, like he's not like terrible, but like really he's not the best. A lot of it comes from he's a big heavyweight who's actually pretty athletic and has a really absurdly long reach. That's most of it. Next up, Brandon Moreno. I think he's got pretty underrated boxing. I think he has. I'll say one of my favorite things about him is he does really well with using a lead hook to stop someone circling away from his right hand, so that way he can like set it up better. Because everyone should like every time that someone's in a fight, they're gonna circle away. Everyone, it's always you're circling to someone's like jab side. Moreno does a really good job like using like a lead hook to cut someone off in order to you know throw them into his right hand. And he does have a lot of his game. He does throw like head kicks and body kicks and stuff like that. But I think like his boxing is really underrated. I think criminally underrated. I think like when people talk about the best boxers in UFC, I don't ever see anyone mention Brandon Moreno really. And I think that's kind of disrespectful because I do think he is one of the best. I think he's really good at using his jab. I think he does a. I mean, he's got really solid defense. He doesn't get hit clean and rocked that often. I mean, who did it? Figgy, but Figgy has like fucking insane knockout power for his size. So I think Brandon Moreno is probably one of the better boxers that just isn't as recognized as much. Conor McGregor, B tier. I'm gonna say B tier just because when you look at when McGregor was finding his most success in his career, it's when he wasn't just like a pure boxer. It's when he threw these things like like big body kicks, like spinning back kicks to the body, massive leg kicks, head kicks, fucking wheel kicks. Like it's when he threw these big explosive things. And we saw when he just like went to like pure boxing against Poirier. He faded quickly. And Poirier was I mean again Poirier used leg kicks, but regardless, Poirier was able to catch him and hurt him bad, and that eventually won him the fight. It's just like we know that McGregor has his best success in MMA when he's not pure boxing and he's karate stance McGregor is the one that had the most success. Again, again that might just be also because boxing McGregor was after he made a lot of money. He might have just not had the same drive that he did when he was coming up. But karate stance McGregor just objectively had a lot more success. And I think it's because he was able to utilize like those big explosive things that could really hurt someone and really threaten them, and you could goad someone into falling into his traps. Jorge Masvidal up next. Let's just get. I think there's a couple of these guys that we need to get out of the way. Masvidal, Hill, Bobby Green, Glover Teixeira. Actually, oh man, I really want to. I'm sorry, Glover. I love Glover, but yeah, he's got to be D tier. I mean, Glover's more just like a dirty boxer. Like get in close and like clinch box. And from like a pure boxing perspective, like if it was in like a boxing match, you wouldn't be able to do that. So it's just like, and we've seen him get hurt and outboxed before by better boxers. But I think with a couple of these guys, I think Masvidal is just good striker, but like I never thought he was like just that incredible. I'll put him above Pavlovich, definitely above Pavlovich. Never thought he was that incredible, but I mean, you know, beats the shit out of most guys. Just sucks this. He's just not. He doesn't suck, but like, just could be better. What is it, Jamal Hill and Bobby Green? Dude, it's their defense, man. Like going into UFC 300 when Pereira Hill was first announced, I was thinking, oh man, Jamal Hill might beat Alex Pereira. Oh fuck, dude, I might pick Hill to win this. And then I went and rewatched his fights, and I'm like, huh. Man, this motherfucker is getting hit by a left hook so much. Like, Thiago Santos is landing massive hooks on him. How the fuck is he doing that? And it's the same thing with Bobby Green. Like I get his whole thing is like, oh, I'm gonna keep my hands down and, slip shots and like roll and shoulder roll with this, but it's like, dude, you just gotta stop that, dude. You're getting knocked out brutally so often. You're getting hurt so often. No, I can't, man. And Jamal Hill, he just gets clipped by big shots too much, big winging hooks too much. I just can't. Robert Whitaker, I'll put him in the B tier just because for Robert Whitaker, it's like it's again too much of his game is like kicks. Like I mean, dude, like a 1-2 head kick is a signature thing, not just a 1-2. Like he's big with calf kicks and body kicks. Like kicks are just again too much of his game to ignore. So I can't put him really any higher because it's so much of his game that if you limit him to just boxing, I don't think he would find as much success. Jose Aldo, I think A tier. Ooh, actually, if we're talking about current day Jose Aldo, I think as a boxer, respectively, he is an A tier boxer. Better than Max Holloway. From a pure boxing technical perspective, I think he's better than Holloway. I mean, he's faster. I think he has better timing. It's just like Holloway was always going to beat him because it's always a Aldo would always be able to keep if those title fights were 2 rounds only, then Aldo would fucking win every time. But Holloway just knows that the difference was that Holloway knows that okay, I know I'm gonna get hit. I know I can take his shots. I'm gonna set a pace. I know he's not gonna be able to keep up with, and he's gonna fade. And when he starts fading, he's gonna be done for. And that was probably Jose Aldo's only big problem was his cardio because he was really explosive. But if you put a pace on him that he couldn't keep, he would fade. If you just put a pace on him, he would fade, and then you would be able to catch him, and you'd be able to get him out of there. But from a technical perspective, he is one of the better boxers. He's good at setting things up. I mean, people are gonna argue that like, oh, but what about his leg kicks? Early on in his career, yeah, which is if this was like I don't know, fucking 2012 Aldo, I'd probably have him at B tier just because leg kicks would have been such a big part of his game, but he doesn't rely on leg kicks too much anymore. He still has them in his arsenal. He just doesn't use it too much. His leg kick defense is what he utilizes a lot because everyone will try to leg kick him, and then he has the fucking best leg kick defense of all time. Fuck. Fuck. Allergies. But yeah, that's just one of the big things about it. I think he does good investing to the body. I think he's more of like a Stipe type thing, where it's like a big one type, like a he's like a kind of almost like a one shot at a time fighter, but not really. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but Aldo is an A tier boxer in my opinion. Oh, is he? Let's get this out of the way. Yeah, hop on the B tier. Yeah, same thing. Kicks and just body kicks, head kicks, leg kicks, all so much of his game that if you take it away, I just don't think he would find the same success. Nick Diaz, I'll throw him in B tier as well. Same with Cody Garbrandt and Nate Diaz. I'll put in C. Nate Diaz is just really quickly. I'm just gonna ring these off because this video is getting really long. Nate Diaz just technically a bit sloppy, but cardio is like his is like main thing. He's like Max Holloway. He's just cardio demon. He'll put a pace on you that you know you can't keep, and he'll fucking crumble you. Same thing with Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz, more technical of a boxer than Nate, definitely. But he'll put a pace on you that you know that he knows you can't keep, and then once you start fading, that's when he'll really put it on you. Cody Garbrandt, now I think he's done a lot better with, moving around the octagon and his footwork and really, keeping his defense a lot, a lot more sound. So, not the worst, but Grasso, Holm, and Aldana, yeah, I'm not fucking doing them. Justin Gaethje, he's just more of a brawler. I think he's just too much of a brawler for me to want to put him in the above that. It's like when he gets into it, he's just he's again he's very like single shot or he's very like two shot, single or two shot combinations. That's what Aldo and Stipe fit into too. Like single or two shot combinations. It doesn't, and it's just from a technical standpoint, he gets in there, he kind of gets gets a bit sloppy at times. He'll start to brawl. You know, I think it's sometimes he'll just like over reliance on power, but he's great. But just like I don't think technically he's as good as the other guys on this list. And again, I think he's like it's like Jose Aldo thing. You know, I think he's starting to, I think kicks and whatnot are starting to become. I think kicks are almost becoming more important again. I know he used to smash those leg kicks relentlessly, but I think he's like they're important to him because he's starting to like set it up now. So yeah, Steve Urseg. Steve Ursig is good. I think he does a real good job like keeping his hands up. I know he got knocked out by Kai Car France, but that was just a slight adjustment on Kai Car France. It was originally he's throwing step through with the left overhand and it's gonna land and it lands on the guard. He just tightened it up, threw it more down the middle, and it caught Steve Ursig. Just Steve Ursig didn't really do anything wrong because he had his hands up. He had his guard up, ready to block it. It's just it came down at an angle that it came in at an angle he didn't expect. So, you know, just is what it is. But from a technical standpoint, he's really good. Uh, Volk? Well, okay, let's just rapid fire these off. Volk here, Song here, Ortega here, Hooker here. Ooh, Fiziev here, Curtis here, Paulo here, Aspinall here. I'm gonna put four in here. Ribanoff, Volk outbacks Holloway. He's really fucking good with his hands. I know kicks are a big part of his game, but just from like, it's like the same as Piotr Jan. It's like him and Piotr One are kind of like one and the same in it. Rafael Fiziev, you know, same kind of thing as Volk and Jan. That's about it. Song Yadong, uh, headhunts a little too much. He's a big like a one shot type of fighter. Doesn't really. I mean, he'll put combinations together, but it's like it's not often like you see it happen. Like he'll go in for combinations and like a finishing sequence, but usually it's like a 1-2 like a two punch combination. Curtis, I really want to put Curtis in the A tier, but it's just we've seen him get outstruck a lot of times. No, never mind. Can't even say that. Chris Curtis is just, sometimes he just in terms of honestly, I can't even find anything bad about Curtis. I just think combinations. That's it. I don't think he puts a lot of like big combinations together like JDM and Taporia. He does investing into the body. He does good setting his shots up. Just doesn't do the same thing. Paulo Costa is kind of like Chris Curtis, except he'll explode into all of his shots and like these big, massive, explosive leg and body kicks are just a big part of his game too. So, but like when Paulo Costa like has someone hurt, he'll fucking rip like a five punch combination, like body head. Like so, yeah. Uh, For Corey and Curtis, really good technically, but for Corey at least, kicks, body kicks, head kicks, these knees up the middle, these elbows, just incorporate too much that if you take those away from him, you know, wouldn't find as much success. With Kelvin Gastelum, I think it's just kind of suffers from like I don't know, boxes like an MMA fighter would box kind of thing. No, it just is what it is. Uh, yeah. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think about it. Tell me what you guys disagree with. I don't know. I don't really care. Goodbye.